Tottenham Hotspur have apparently opened talks, club-to-club talks with Manchester City for exciting, electric, game-changing winger, SAVINHO. No, this isn't clickbait. Well, some of you will call me clickbait anyway because you'll call it delusional. You'll say it's ridiculous. Why would he come? But the story has dropped from Fabrizio Romano Sunday at 11:45 p.m. I was just getting ready for bed, and out you get. Your day's not done. What do you want me to tell you? That's what we do here. Breaking news off of Twitter from Fabrizio Romano. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about it right now. What a lovely little finish to the Sunday session this one might just be. Before you get into it, guys, please smash the like button if you're happy with this one. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. I'm excited. Hit the notification bell and drop, excuse me, a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this evening's late topic. Guys, let's have a look. It's not me. See, I know most of you sitting there having a crack at me already. It's not me. This is Romano, ladies and gentlemen. It's Romano, and he is saying exclusive Tottenham open club-to-club talks to sign SAVINHO from Manchester City. Negotiations ongoing between Spurs and City. Also understand SAVINHO's open to the move if the clubs can agree on a fee. THFC boss Thomas Frank indicated SAVINHO as an ideal player. Now, we've heard, guys, I mean, this is lovely. Ratatata. What a player, by the way. What a player. I'll come to his FB refs. I'll come to the data on the guy in a minute. Obviously, he smashed it out of the park when he was at Girona. Comes back to City last year and did really, really well as well. I mean, an extraordinary talent. He's got all of the tricks in the book, all of the flicks and the lovely sort of versatile play. He can play off the right. He can play off the left. He's got finishing acumen that I'm sure you could see him as inside forwards. And look, the guy's got just about everything that you'd like to see to get everybody excited. I'll come to all that stuff in a minute. Let's just talk about the last sentence here. Tottenham Hotspur boss Thomas Frank indicated SAVINHO is the ideal player. Now, if you remember, over the last couple of days, there's been a lot of sort of commentary coming from Thomas Frank with regards to what he was saying on the rooftop of the bar in Seoul when he was talking to the journalists. There's been other commentary as well saying, look, we are active in the market. We are in the market, but only for the right player. We're not just going to sign anybody. He also talked about, and I spoke about this before, where he was inferring that he didn't want to come out and say that the Brentford scouting model was better than Tottenham's, but it was very good. Well, I think that was his way of saying, actually, it is better, but it's probably better because of a consequence of 7 years working there, everybody knowing their part, everybody knowing their role, everybody knowing each other like the backs of their hands, and it just became seamless, whereas all of that has to start again at Tottenham. And I think he said even before, like earlier on today, or at least I saw quotes earlier today saying that he was saying that he has to spend a lot more time with Johan because they're just not kind of on the same page necessarily, or they're not really singing from the same hymn sheet with regards their talent ID and what it is that they want. So if this one is coming from Thomas Frank, it's a Frank-made initiative, which is great. And it's a player that, I mean, it would just be sensational for him to get his guy, for us to get a player like that, especially before Wednesday, if possible. And look, we know that these things move quickly with Tottenham, so you might even find that it's a here we go tomorrow. I mean, I don't know. I'm speculating. I'm just so excited. It's been such a terrible week. Let's have a little look-see, guys, at the player's sort of history just for a second. We'll come to the epi-refs in a second. So predominantly plays off the right wing because he's left-footed, right? So he likes to cut in, but can play in the attacking midfielder role as well. He's that clever. And he can obviously play off the left-hand side if you want a guy that wants to take it down to the byline. But he's predominantly on the left wing on the right wing because he likes to cut inside. Now, if we look at his Club World Cup recently, just 3 games played, a goal and an assist, a goal every 300 minutes. If we look at his history, so he was started off in Brazil at Atletico. Then he went from MG to Troyes for 6.5 million. From Troyes, he went on loan to Eindhoven and then eventually was sold to Girona. Oh, sorry, even then, sorry, it was he was on loan at Girona. Sorry, it was Troyes that he was bought from. Sorry, I didn't realise that. I thought he was like a full-time player at Girona. My bad. So £25 million was the fee, but £50 million was the valuation that Manchester City eventually paid for the guy. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I thought he was at Girona full time. My bad. Either way. So 21 years old, so it fits the profile of going on. I pretty much, if everyone tells me no more kids to this one, I hear it all the time, no more kids. I don't want to hear that from about this guy. This guy is a ratatata. Let's have a little cheeky look at his FB refs. And again, remember, guys, you have to compare. There's two different types of stats here, right? So his output is going to be phenomenal versus the midfielders, as you can see. I always say this to you guys: when you're having minutes being played as a midfielder and as an attacking midfielder or winger, then you have the different sort of start sizing of the green bars. So versus midfielders, I'd imagine you're going to see much higher output in the green bars for the kind of the goals, the assists, the shot creating actions, all that stuff. And then you probably have less on the passing, less on the defensive stuff versus midfielders. And then it will be a little bit of a pivot and a swap for the attacking midfielders and wingers tab. So because we think of him more as an attacking midfielder, let's have a little look. Progressive carries per 90, 6.61, 96th percentile. Exactly what you need as a locksmith as well, whether he's playing inside or off on the right-hand side. Progressive passes received, 12.13 progressive passes per 90. Absolutely love to see that. Passing range stuff. Look, in terms of passes completed, 34 passes a game from 43 attempted, so 75 percentile. In fact, his stats look a little bit kind of green, like they're decent green barish, but they're sort of not extraordinarily good versus other attacking midfielders that are more involved in the build-up. That's because for Manchester City, he obviously hangs out on the right-hand side. Let's have a look at his goal and shot creating actions, though. The stuff that he does that leads to other people, or not necessarily other people, but activity in and around the goal for the team. Shot creating actions, 5.15 per game. Unbelievable. Shot creating actions that come from one of his take-ons. He does a take-on that leads to a shot three times every 4 games, 95th percentile. Goal creating actions from a defensive action, 93rd percentile. Goal creating actions from a take-on, 86th percentile. Shot creating actions from a defensive action, 90th percentile. A lot of output coming from this guy. Absolutely sensational. Touches in the attacking third, 40 times a game, 96th percentile. Absolutely love it. Carries, 40 carries a game. Total carrying distance, 323 yards. Progressive carrying distance, 174 yards per game. From a guy that's doing that in the final third, that's wild. Think about how much, where he's progressing the ball with his feet in the final third and doing so much that he's doing 174 yards per game on average. Absolutely insane. As I said already, progressive carries 6.61 and carries into the final third 2.23, carries into the penalty area 3.61. Obviously, you see the green bars there. An absolute lovely player to be linked with at this time on a Sunday night. And just to compare, if you go and do compare to the midfield, then again, you can see the green bars shoot up. His goal creating actions are still absolutely insane versus midfielders. Defensively, is going to look a little bit worse though, because he's not going to be spending all that time up there doing all those things if he's playing off on the right wing. But an absolutely a versatile player, a really, really clever player. His footballing IQ, in my opinion, guys, is superb for someone so young. His vision on his passing. Let me get rid of those stats for a second and come back to the main story here. His vision on his passing is absolutely delicious. I think in the past he's not necessarily been known for all of those sorts of things, but in the last sort of last 18 months of his game, he's really kind of come on in that regard. And I think his end product as well is obviously something that have increased dramatically. I think it just sort of demonstrates a more mature and effective offensive output type player, which is something that we really, really need. And clearly Thomas Frank feels the same. And you can understand why when, what did we say before? Is it 67 GA has been sidelined from last year's first 11 to this because of Sonny leaving and the two attacking midfielders down. This guy alongside Kudus, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of marry up. Does that mean if we were to get him, of course, massive speculation, but I'm sorry, I'm just too excited. If you were to play him in his traditional position where he gets most of his minutes on the right wing, what does that mean for Kudus? Because Kudus didn't enjoy playing on the left wing when he was at West Ham under the second iteration of management last year under Graham Potter. That was part of the reason why I wanted to go. And he didn't really appreciate playing, as far as I've been told, under, was it Locatelli? Not Locatelli. I forget the name of the manager who was before him. I'll come back to him in a second. In the sort of 10 role. So if you are going to get this guy, if this is the sort of true story, this is what we're going to be sort of led to believe, at least for the purposes of this video, then it'd be interesting to see how we shoehorn the two of them in there and make it all make sense. But that's a problem for Thomas. If Thomas Frank has identified it as the main guy, then I'm more than happy. Absolutely delicious. As I said to you already, guys, I think his versatility, being able to play on either wing, but preferring to play off the right, is very, very impressive. And dribbling skills, just got my notes here on the player. Absolutely top draw. He's dynamic, he's exciting, and he's got a hell of a bright future, is my notes. He's definitely improved in his end product from his previous days, and his tactical intelligence make him a valuable asset. And I would absolutely love to see this guy get done. It'd just be such a lift before Wednesday. And, one of those things that you probably weren't expecting too much of, were you, on Sunday night? All the Twitter sphere is going absolutely mental, by the way. Like it has been all week, with all the kind of general negativity. People need to leave. It's a disgrace. Everything's a disgrace. If this one comes in and the club sanction it, given that it's Thomas Frank and he's identified this player, it kind of makes you think that, the club are giving him what he wants, which I think is a positive. If, again, this is on the presumption that something moves in this direction. But the fact that it's at Romano already, you'd hope that there's some truth to it. It's a shame as well, because earlier on tonight, for what it's worth, Coney de Winter, who was a player that Tottenham were actively looking to try to bring in as a centre-back option, who I think was just a wonderful talent. I spoke about him earlier on in the summer many, many times with you guys. A really, really top draw talent that would have been great coming in. He ended up moving to AC Milan this evening. And according to the reports, that Tottenham actually bid and had the bid successful bid as well, but that de Winter chose AC Milan, which is understandable. I think there's a couple of players now that have chosen AC Milan over Tottenham. If there was any truth to the Arden Jashari rumours, if there was any truth to the Samuel Ritchie rumours earlier on, and obviously now for Coney de Winter as well. But look, put that to one side. There's plenty of centre-backs out there. Leone, Lukumi, Scalvini. There's loads of them. Edmund Tapsobers. There's loads and loads of different centre-backs if we really want to go in that direction. But this SAVINHO noise, to me, whilst it's a wonderful bit of news either way because of the player's ability and the fact that, as an age profile, it fits what we're looking to do, just the reality is, I think that we can maybe be dangerous and galling enough to infer some things here, that Thomas Frank's not been particularly impressed with some of the suggested talent, I would say, maybe that Johan Lang has presented him, and that he's sort of come out and say it without really saying it, that there's a big difference between how they see each other's visions on profiles. And so if Thomas Frank's going, I don't want him. Yes, we're in the market, but you keep bringing me players that I'm not, it doesn't suit. That's not what I'm into. And they've gone, okay, well, who do you want then? SAVINHO. That's who I want. That'll be the perfect player. And then Daniel Levy has gone, okay, pick up the phone. Let's see if we can make it happen. Imagine if we could get that and an Eberechi Eze, or that and a Harvey Elliott, or even a James McAtee, for example. If we can get a couple of players in now, including this guy, guys, I'm very, very, very happy. And you should be too. Let me know your thoughts on the player, guys. If you haven't, the Y Scout is just, there's never-ending lists of his dribbling. Like some of the areas of departments of his game, you get like a few clips and you're back like 2-3 years way back into his time in other clubs. But the dribbling, the clips, they just go on and on and on and on. He's got a lovely little read of the game, lovely little play, lovely flick. He's a bums out of seats type of winger, in my opinion. And he's someone that I really think will offer a closing of the gap in our offensive deficiencies with regards to those numbers that we need to close. But on top of that, I think he'll excite, and I think he'll be that terror. And if we can find a way, in a world where he does come to the club, then that's why I was talking about, where you have those two take-ons. You have a Kudus and you have a SAVINHO that can sit on the side. And then if you get the 10 that you need, whether that's a Harvey Elliott, whether that's a James McAtee, whether that's an Eberechi Eze, if you get that, and then you have the midfielders that we have behind it who are more than capable of switching, everything changes very, very, very quickly. I might be getting well ahead of myself here, guys. I might very well be getting so far ahead and just to be muddied. But this story isn't mine. I know you guys love to call me out for, for saying that I'm jarring you with my clickbait. Guys, I might put like catchy thumbnails to get you to click, but the content isn't mine, right? Like, I don't make anything up. I just tell you what's out there. I just collate the news for you. So, that's what I do. But listen, this one is from Romano. This is just in case you've joined late. Let me just show you one more time. Let me show you this one more time. Tottenham Hotspur open club-to-club talks to sign SAVINHO from Manchester City. Negotiations ongoing between Spurs and City, and also understand SAVINHO is open to the move if the clubs can agree on a fee. That actually comes from Matteo Moretto, who he's from Deportivo, the newspaper, OS Hablo de Figueiras. So he also works for Figueiras. As I say, Figueiras is a strange one, isn't it? Sometimes Figueiras comes out with these stories that are just so wild and out there, and you go, well, I can't take anything they say seriously. But if it's good enough for Romano, it's good enough for the Spurs Talk Show. I promise you that. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts. This guy would revolutionise. In my opinion, he's still got a long way to. He's not like Rodrigo and that sort. He's not that level, but he's super exciting, super tricky, super catchy. He can cross the ball in from both sides, strong with both feet, even though he's left-footed predominantly. And he picks up a goal or two, and he's terrifying. Exactly what Tottenham Hotspur need. I'm going to leave it there. Like, subscribe, and comment, and be gentle. Rata-ta-ta, SAVINHO to Tottenham. I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.